There's a moment each May when a racetrack in Indiana becomes one of the loudest places on earth and also one of the most sacred, not because of speed alone, but because of what 300,000 people do in unison. They wear hats that haven't been washed in 40 years. They chant names like Foyt, Unser, and Mears. They call their best friends Hook because they've been getting free tickets for everyone and hooking them up since they were 7 years old. And ultimately, they stand as a trumpet plays taps, remembering drivers who never came home. The Indianapolis 500, it's not just a race, it's America's mechanical cathedral. The first race held at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway was not 500 miles. In 1909, short-distance events tested early cars on a track paved with crushed stone and tar. It was a disaster. Cars crashed, tires exploded, and by the end of one race, a driver, 2 mechanics, and 2 spectators were dead. The public was horrified. So, in 1911, organizers rolled out a new vision. A single 500-mile, 805-kilometer race, just once a year. Safer, simpler. A true test of endurance and engineering. And the first winner, Ray Harun, drove a car called the Marmon Wasp, famous not only for its name, but for having no front seat passenger. Instead, Harun installed what may have been the first rear-view mirror in racing history. His average speed, just under 75 miles an hour, 121 kilometers per hour today. Compare that to today's cars. They routinely qualify at over 230 miles an hour. That's 370 kilometers per hour. That's 3 times faster without tripling the danger. And yes, there's still a wasp in the museum. Bright yellow. Still armed with a mirror. The track itself tells its own story. In 1909, it was paved with 3.2 million bricks, earning the name the Brickyard. Drivers hated it. Bricks shattered, dust flew, but fans, they came anyway. Over time, asphalt covered the surface, and today just 1 yard of brick remains, precisely at the start-finish line. Every winning driver still kisses those bricks, helmet off, knees down. It's a ritual that didn't exist before 1996, when Dale Jarrett started it after a NASCAR win. Indy 500 winners, they adopted it soon after, and it stuck. And so did the milk. The milk wasn't always part of the show. In 1936, driver Louis Meyer asked for buttermilk after winning. A dairy executive saw it on film and turned it into a tradition. But the tradition really was shaky at first. You see, in 1947, Maurice Rose drank orange juice. And it wasn't until the 1950s that race officials codified milk as the victory beverage. Today, drivers pre-select their milk preference before the race. Whole, 2%, or skim. One year, a driver actually requested chocolate milk and got politely overruled. And then there's fuel. After several horrific gasoline fires, including one that killed 2 crewmen and a hospitalized driver, Eddie Sachs, officials banned gasoline outright. From 1965 to 2005, cars ran on methanol. After that, ethanol. To this day, gasoline is still forbidden in the Indy 500, not for performance reasons, but for safety. The 500's fan culture has grown in tandem with the race's history. The Snake Pit, a notoriously wild infield party zone. It's existed in one form or another since the 1950s. At one point, police reportedly made over 100 arrests a day in that section alone. And today, it's a controlled music festival. But the name and the spirit remain. Some traditions, they evolved more painfully. Janet Guthrie, the first woman to qualify for the Indy 500 in 1977. She was booed, blocked, sabotaged. Male mechanics refused to work with her. But she did finish 9th the next year. In 2005, Danica Patrick became the first woman to lead laps. And in 2009, she placed 3rd, still the highest finish by any female driver. And not all chaos happens on the track. Way back in 1971, a Dodge dealership owner named Eldon Palmer was actually chosen to drive the pace car. He practiced all week long. Then on race day, with VIPs inside and the crowd on their feet, Palmer missed his braking mark and smashed the Dodge Challenger into a camera platform. It injured a dozen people, nearly killed the track owner, Tony Holman. After that, the Speedway changed its policy. Pace car drivers would need professional racing experience, or at the very least, a backup brake plan. In 1992, one of the most thrilling finishes in race history unfolded. Al Unser Jr. beat Scott Goodyear by just 0.043 seconds. That's about 24 inches or 61 centimeters, a full-speed blink. The announcers call, "You just won the Indy 500!" And Unser's reply, "You gotta be kidding me." You see, it wasn't a joke, it was history. That history is strangely cautious when it comes to car numbers. Until 1947, there were no official regulations on number assignments. Drivers could duplicate each other. 13s, 77s, whatever the number. But after a string of crashes and confusion, the Speedway standardized numbering. The number 13, however, has never officially been banned. It's just never used. That superstition runs too deep. And winning the race doesn't even guarantee glory. In 2016, Alexander Rossi won the 100th running of the Indy 500, a rookie with guts and no fuel left in the tank. He coasted across the line and barely made it to victory lane. But by season's end, he ranked only 11th in the overall. That's the strange reality. You can win the biggest race in the world and still finish the year completely forgotten. Unless you've earned the milk or survived the heat. Cockpit temperatures can reach 120 degrees Fahrenheit, 49 degrees Celsius. Drivers lose between 5 and 10 pounds during the race. That's 2.3 to 4.5 kilograms. And it's mainly all sweat. That's 3 hours of nonstop driving, G-force stress, and zero relief. Pit crews, they train like athletes. So do the drivers, because endurance wins where engines fade. And yet, for all its speed and spectacle, the Indy 500 endures not just because of what happens on the track, but because of what's built around it. Memorial Day. Back home again in Indiana. The roar of the crowd, the waving of the checkered flags, the bricks, the milk, the silence before the start. It's more than tradition. It's a promise that every year for one day, the loudest machine in America will run on memory, pride, and asphalt. These are Interesting Things with JC.